Hello there, everyone. My name is Salman Halawi. I am a Web3 entrepreneur, futurist, and architect, building a platform by the name of Metadesignerz, which by now many of you may have heard of. At Metadesignerz, we are creating one of the world's first Web3 facilitators, bringing together services from design and ideation all the way to blockchain, metaverse, AR, VR, XR and even event management. So, in other words, we deliver your project from concept to conquest by bridging the gap between investors, creators, and most importantly, the community. Now, before I begin, I would like to give a huge thank you to Christopher Lafayette and the team at GatherVerse for this wonderful summit they have put together. It truly shows how much value they are putting on the table for the Web3 community. And for that, they deserve a huge round of applause. Now, let's cut to the chase. The current market size of the Web3 industry is around $47.48 billion in the year 2022, which, according to Forbes, is expected to reach numbers of around $687 billion by the year 2030. That is an approximate compound annual growth rate of around 39.44%. Can you imagine the amount of value that brings to Web3 and its sub-industries like blockchain, metaverse, AR, VR, XR, so on and so forth? Can you imagine the number of opportunities that will create and the new ventures that will come to life in this parallel realm we are bound to be part of? With industries like architecture, design, finance, retail, marketing, tourism, and even medicine taking a huge role over the short run, but more notably, over the long run. This new realm is bound to not only make our day-to-day lives easier, but rather facilitate them through the multiple extensions to our current reality. But what are the effects of this extension or the other? And at what cost do we dwell? The metaverse is on a rise, and that rise is inevitable. It will soon be a space where we work, shop, meet, create, play, and even travel. Now, what that means is that many of us will soon be spending long periods of time in what, whether we admit it or not, is an alternate reality. So, many of you may ask, what does that even have to do with us? And what problems could that cause? Well, here's what. The average human being is created a social being, a being that ever since the rise and evolution of humanity has lived in groups, a being that interacts with others on a normal basis, a being that exercises on a normal basis, and a being that ever since our existence in the realm we all know as the Earth has been used to being surrounded by a context and what it brings. However, the one thing that this being is not used to enduring is isolation. And that is a point that raises some real concern because the way the human brain is wired, the effects of such isolation, lack of mobility, and absence of real social interaction in an alternate reality could be the cause of something I like to call contextual anxiety. At this point in our conversation, some of you are saying I'm bearish about the metaverse and extended reality. But if that was the case, I simply wouldn't be here today shedding light on a topic that really does not get enough attention in our space, and I believe should be tackled immediately. The truth is, since the first time I heard about crypto, I wanted to know more. That led me to blockchain. Following that, and with the meteoric rise of NFTs into popularity, I was triggered to dig deeper and deeper, all the way until last year, when I started learning about the metaverse, from which I saw the value in extended reality. And then the macro lens, the place where it all radiates to and radiates from, Web3. And let me tell you this, never have I ever been more bullish about anything my entire life. But regardless of the bullish bearish tug of war on this topic or any other topic, the one thing we should be focused on and devoted to is creating value for the community. A community for whom we often create without sufficient foresight to determine whether what we create will, over the long run, create a positive or negative impact on the overall experience. And truth is, as creators, we are all designers. And design is what I like to believe is the mother of all disciplines. From art to science, to mathematics, to economics, to history, sociology, ecology, psychology, and so many other disciplines which fall under one large umbrella, design. And let me tell you this one thing. With great design comes great responsibility. The current state we are witnessing in the metaverse is a state of urban booming. As a result of the hype and mass adoption it is seeing, and the massive investment opportunities available to everyone. Because with urban booming comes growth, prosperity, and a whole new room for new beginnings. Certain metaverses have developed building codes and regulations which may to a certain extent limit what we do and where. But at the end of the day, they create the balance and steer the skylines away from becoming arbitrary, unorganized, and uninspired. Now, the most important component here is the contribution of creators. For alongside the teams and organizations responsible for the metaverse ecosystems we visit today, they play the most crucial role in what is going to be the greatest revolution in humanity since the first industrial revolution. A revolution that will literally change the lives of everyone involved. And what form of change is it that we are bound to see? Well, that is up to us, the creators. Now that the creators are in the spotlight, and we've talked about the multiple advantages and disadvantages of the world we're creating, I would like to bring to your attention a risk that I mentioned earlier, with that risk being contextual anxiety. For what is currently on display may be something new, but yet the concrete jungles, steel structures, and formless silhouettes remain a phenomenon that switched dimensions, but in essence, never really changed. The message here is to each and every creator out there. Being part of an environment is beyond a confined space, but rather one that infuses a sense of serenity, peace, and freedom for the everyday user. It is true that at times, in this world we live in, we are bound by what certain markets want. But truth is, in this new world we are creating, that should never be the case. Now that we are still building an infrastructure for Web3, it is our only opportunity to say no to the norms and create a realm where everyone can reside, relax, and radiate. How, you may ask? Well, a simple example for that is social therapy. Some approaches to implement the latter can be creating green areas in our virtual buildings, allowing for a sense of nature to arise from within. Creating more socially dedicated spaces between dwellings for users and visitors to interact and feel less alone. Creating physical tasks that can be executed through extended reality in certain settings to make sure that the user gets up and allows for the blood to circulate while they are in their own realm. And last but not least, creating an ambience that infuses relaxation when possible for the users to feel soothed. And the latter can be done through music, frequencies, lighting, colors, and so much more. Our users should not be visiting our spaces just because they have a task to complete or a world to explore, but rather they should be there because these spaces bring them peace. It's already difficult enough to be escaping reality, but we might as well make the alternate reality one that heals the soul. And with that being said, my message for you today is create from the soul. Put every piece of heart into what you're building, for that will create the real difference and bring life to what is merely a machine. Thank you, everyone, and thank you so much, GatherVerse, for having me.